B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. Continuing where we left off in Halachot Netila of the morning. So last week we said that a person has to be careful when you do Netilat Yadayim in the morning, not to do Netilah on the ground where people walk, and also not to do your Netilat Yadayim in a sink where you have your utensils or cups or whatever that's unwashed dishes that the men of the household forgot to wash. You shouldn't wash on those, and if you do, you should wash it out before use, obviously, or get rid of that water if it just stays. You shouldn't have that water staying somewhere too long, because it has tumah in it. So, however, you're allowed to obviously wash your hands in the sink, because you might think to yourself, the sink is also a place that holds water. So if it stays in there, or I don't know, it's gonna have Netilat Yadayim water residue on it. So you could do that, it's not a problem. Washing your hands in a sink, that's where we wash. However, you should just, wash it out afterwards with some water. Let the water stay on a little, so that water that you just washed Netilat Yadayim in the morning with should just get drained. Now, hanotel yadav shacharit, a person that washes their hands during the morning time for shacharit. What is the bracha? Tzarich levarech al netilat yadayim kodem hanigu. When is the bracha? What is the bracha? The what is obviously asher kiddushana b'mitzvotav v'sivanu al netilat yadayim. When do you make the bracha? The bracha has to be made before you dry your hands. Meaning you wash your hands, you raise up your hands like this. That's our minhag. Sephardi minhag is to raise your hands like this, up in the air, and you make the bracha, and then you go and dry your hands.
That's not just for washing? For bread?
That's also for bread as well.
No, I thought it was only for bread. Every time you say on the Netilat Yadayim, you raise up your hand?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And what's the deal with the one of this? No, wiping your hands off
When?
before you raise your hand.
Some people say you should do that in order to get the water everywhere, meaning to make sure that the water has covered your entire hand. Some people, in fact, say you shouldn't do that because that's tumah water and you're really taking it from one place of the hand to the other hand. So the best way to do it is you have to make sure that you're getting your hands wet completely up to your wrist. And how to do that is very simple. If you hold your hand like this under the cup when you're pouring on, you're not going to get this part of your hand wet. Okay? You hold it like this, you're probably going to miss, usually this part does not get the water. So the best way is you hold your hand not like this, a little bit curved. This is from experience. You hold it a little curved this way, and you pour starting from your wrist down, you're going to get the entire hand. Just every time like this. Or you could move. But I'm saying if you can't move, while some people can't move, it's like the whole, that thing. So you just hold your hand like that and you pour, you'll get the whole hand. You'll literally get the entire hand. Right? Especially if you have the regular Netila cups, that definitely has enough water to get both hands for Netilat Yadayim 6 times.
Do you do the wiping thing or no?
No, I don't. So you raise your hands and you make the bracha before you dry your hands. Why? So that the bracha should be made, like everything else that we make the bracha of, should be made before completing the mitzvah. As a general rule, any bracha that we make, you have to make sure that we make the bracha before we do the mitzvah. You don't take a bite out of the apple and then make ha'etz. You make borei peri ha'etz, and then you take a bite out of the apple. Right? Therefore, Netilat Yadayim, however, it's kind of like, right? Because you're doing Netilah and then making the bracha. So you would ask, how come we don't first make the bracha and then do Netilat Yadayim? Because everything else, we make the blessing before we do the action. Here it seems we're not. We're first washing our hands, and then we're doing the action of Netilah. Right? So then there's a few answers. One is that technically speaking, you're kind of stuck. You can't really make the bracha before making netilat yadayim, right? Because you haven't washed, your hands are tameh, right? You shouldn't really be making a bracha when you're like that. Even if you say that you could make the bracha, even when your hands are impure, which we're gonna discuss. However, you haven't finished the mitzvah. The mitzvah is finished once you dry your hands. Therefore, the whole mitzvah of netilat yadayim includes the drying of the hands. Therefore, when you're making the bracha, when your hands are wet, you're not really making the bracha when you've already finished the mitzvah. You're in between. You're in the middle of the bracha. So you're getting the best of both, right? So you're not really missing out. Therefore, it's very important that when your hands are still wet, you make the bracha and then you dry them. So he says, "V'gam Rabbeinu Ha'arizal sover ken." Also, the Arizal holds this way. Shira'ui levarech kodam haniguv, that a person should make the bracha before drying their hands. Mipnei she'aruach ra'a ne'ekeret u'mistaleket legamre la'achar netilat gimel pa'amim. Because that ruach ra'a that we said is already gone after you wash 3 times. Because there could be a question here. Why? We said before, we mentioned in the other classes, that however, when you're washing 3 times, that third one that you're pouring on the hand, that's the one that gets rid of that impure, what did we call it? The impurity. The bad vibes. That's the one that's getting rid of that impurity. So if that third one is the one that's getting rid of that impurity, so the third water, so to speak, that's still on your hands is impure. So some people would say, oh, you can't make a bracha yet until you dry your hands, because you still have that impure water on your hands, right? However, the Arizal holds, no. Once you've washed the 3 times, that impurity is gone. So drying your hands, whether you dry your hands, it's not a problem. So you have to first make the bracha and then dry your hands. Then you make the bracha before drying your hands. That's why you could make the bracha al netilat, because you're still doing the mitzvah of netila. Netila comes from raising, you're raising your hands, or the netila itself is considered washing the hands, or if you want to say netila is the name of that cup, which we said it's a cup that's named netila, natla, right? So all of that consists of the washing. So once you wash your hands and then you dry your hands, the whole mitzvah is already over. So then you're going to be stuck in a safek whether you can make the bracha now. Therefore, we wash our hands while it's still wet. We make the bracha. You had a question?
Yeah, I heard, is it opposite for Asher Yatzar? To make sure your hands are dry?
For Asher Yatzar? Oh, yeah, no, Asher Yatzar is also, Asher Yatzar is something else. It's a bracha for something else. It has nothing to do with the washing of the hands.
Right, but I heard you shouldn't make the bracha until your hands are dry.
That's because the netila is not done yet until you dry your hands.
Oh, okay.
So you understand? Because you have to do it. So basically, if your hands are impure from going to the bathroom, you're trying not to make the bracha with that impurity, right? Therefore, same concept. You need to first make sure that your job of netilat yadayim is over before you start making a bracha. What? Right. When you come out of the bathroom, you don't make a bracha on the netilat yadayim. However, if a person is not able to make the bracha of al netilat yadayim at home, maybe the home is somehow not clean. Maybe there's a bad smell in the area that you're in. Maybe you're somewhere there's a bad smell, and when there's a bad smell, you're not allowed to make brachot, blessings. So what do? Let's say you woke up, you washed your hands, netilat yadayim, netila, you did netila, but you're now, there is a situation where you're unable to make a bracha. What do? Shenemar, okay. So then you could even make the bracha after you've already even cleaned your hands. Meaning you dry your hands, you go somewhere else and you make the bracha. Then you could count on that as well. So when you really can't do it while your hands are still wet, because you need to leave that area, so you need to dry your hands or something. So you dry your hands, you go somewhere else, and then you could rely on other chachamim that hold that you have to dry your hands before you make a blessing, bracha. So you could go according to them as well. Meaning, if you're stuck and there's no way for you to make the bracha while your hands are still wet, then you could rely on those that hold that no, you have to actually make the bracha after you dry your hands. So then you could do it after even you dry your hands. And there's a lot of people that hold this way. But however, you should make sure to make the bracha of al netilat yadayim as close as possible to you washing your hands. Meaning, don't wash your hands, dry them, and then go for a drive, go to your office, and then make al netilat yadayim. Right? The first opportunity you have, you should make the bracha of al netilat yadayim. So now, there are those that have the minhag that just go to shul and make bracha netilat yadayim with the rest of the brachot. In the morning we have those brachot that we make, right? After modani, then we make asher yatzar if we go to the bathroom. Then we make, all those brachot. Before that, you could make. There are those that go into shul and actually make al netilat yadayim with the rest of those brachot. Why? So according to them, they hold, now even though it's not the right minhag, there are those that held that al netilat yadayim is also a bracha that's called the birkat shevach, which is a bracha of thanksgiving, so to speak. And a blessing of thanksgiving does not need to have, so to speak, and there's no action required. You're giving a thanksgiving, for instance, like the brachot that we make under the chuppah for a wedding ceremony, right? There's a question whether, we're making two bracha birkat gefen, 2 times, and the same person could make both, like, you just made a gefen, you're just making a gefen again. Like, we never do that. So that's one of the answers. It's beracha of shevach. You're making blessings of thanksgiving.
So they're doing it at
right?
home also.
What?
They're doing it at home also, is what you're saying?
What?
They're not waiting to all the way.
No. They're not doing it at home also. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying like they've dried their hands already. They've washed their hands. They've dried their hands. Now they're in shul, completely different area. They go, it's like a part of the rest of the brachot, right? So they're trying to rely on the fact that no, it's not just a blessing of washing hands, it's a blessing of its own. It's a blessing of, I'm preparing myself, I'm elevating myself for the service of Hashem. That's what this bracha means. That's what it means from elevating, raising myself for the kedusha of worshiping God for the rest of the day, right? So those that do it like that, they have what to rely on. They have a chacham to rely on. However, the best way to do it is as we said. You wash your hands while it's still wet. You make al netilat yadayim. That's when you make your bracha. By the way, asher yatzar has the same din. There are those that hold that even asher yatzar, even if you haven't gone to the bathroom, you wake up in the morning, you make asher yatzar. You go to shul with the rest of your thing, you make asher yatzar. We only make asher yatzar when we go to the bathroom, right? Because we're thanking Hashem. What's the bracha of asher yatzar? We're thanking Hashem for all the pipelines and veins and arteries in our body. We do it after we use the restroom to thank Hashem, wow, for the miracle of human body. But there are those that say that that's also a birkat shevach in the morning. It's a thanksgiving blessing as well. Because whether you use the bathroom or not, you should still thank for all these arteries that are working when you woke up. Right? But we don't hold that way. We only make asher yatzar when we use the restroom. And he also brings down, when you don't have a towel to dry your hands, can you use air dryers? Yes, you may. Ain't that, see? Life made simple. So for all you rich folks that have air dryers in your bathrooms, you could... No, absolutely not. Shouldn't. I mean, maybe people have air dryers outside of their bathrooms. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It all depends. Who would want that kind of noise in their home in the morning? Okay, we said that also. Right, when we mentioned that they make the bracha of al natilat yadayim in the morning in shul, that's something that also the Maharam Chalwa held, that all of the brachot in the morning, all of the blessings that we make in the morning, like for instance, the Gemara says about all the brachot that we make in the morning. The Gemara says, when you wake up in the morning and you hear the rooster, right? You hear the rooster. What's it called when the rooster? The rooster, huh? Something. Yeah, crows, right? Crows? Croaks. The rooster croaks, right? When the rooster croaks, you make the bracha of Hanoten la'sechim v'na la'avchim ben yom u'melayla. You make the bracha of Hashem. You've given the wisdom to the rooster to be able to tell between night and day. That's when you make that bracha, right? And then when you open your eyes, you make this bracha. When you put on your shoes, you make that bracha. All of the brachot that have to do with that. That's what the Gemara says. But we don't do it that way. The Shulchan Aruch says you say all of them together when you get to shul. So there are those that hold, no, we go according to the Gemara. All of them are Thanksgiving brachot anyway. Therefore, look. Not that, no. They say, therefore, look, we're not like today. Who's got roosters? Right? So, but we still make the bracha, right? We're still I had chickens, not roosters. Had. So...
Oh, right.
So, how come we still make the bracha of God? You gave, even though the Gemara says when you see the rooster, you hear the rooster, you make that bracha. But today we don't hear the rooster, we still make the blessing in the morning. Every morning we make that blessing, right? She says, you see that it's just Birkat Shevach. It's a Thanksgiving bracha. It's just a general blessing of God. God has given wisdom to the rooster. God has given us shoes. God has given us clothes. It's just all of them are Shevach. All of them are blessings of Thanksgiving. Therefore, Al Natilat Yadayim is the same. You don't have to actually have washed your hands to make Natilat Yadayim. You could make that's what they hold. That's why they say that you could go to shul and make Natilat Yadayim with the rest of the brachot. So Rabbeinu Peretz in his Hagaot says, "Zehu minhag Ashkenaz she'omrim kol berachot hashachar b'beit knesset." The Ashkenazim have the minhag. They make all of these blessings. I don't know if you've ever davened with Ashkenaz. The Ashkenazim make all of the blessings in the morning out loud in shul, right? But we don't start there. We start from Baruch Shamar. The Chazan starts from Baruch Shamar or Hodu, right? You could a lot of even Sephardi shuls don't start from Hodu. The Chazan says Hodu quietly. Everyone's doing Hodu quietly by themselves, and then they start from Baruch Shamar. The Chazan starts, right? But in Ashkenazic shuls, they start with all of those brachot, right? That's but however, Natilat Yadayim, of course, they make at the time of Natilat Yadayim. Okay, to continue. So the Arizal kind of clarifies this for us. I want to say it kind of in his words. He says, even the Arizal in Shara Kavanot says, שהסכים שיש לברך על ברכת השחר, כל ברכות השחר, אפילו לא נתחייב בהן. So he says, yes, all of the brachas of the morning, Birkot HaShachar, that we're blessing God for the rooster and all that stuff, yes, we say those brachot even though we're not obligated to them. For instance, even though I haven't heard a rooster this morning, I still make the bracha of God giving. So he says, yes, those we say because they're prayers of thanksgiving to God. Those were takana by Chachamim. They were made for basically thanking God for everything in nature. That's what they are. Chutz mebarachot, but however, that excludes the bracha of Netilat Yadayim and Asher Yatzar. Those two are different. Netilat Yadayim and Asher Yatzar, shein levarech ela im ken nitchayev bahen. Netilat Yadayim and Asher Yatzar you only make when you're actually obligated to make those brachot. Which means Netilat Yadayim you only make when you wash your hands in the morning, and Asher Yatzar you only make after you've actually used the bathroom. Nimsa sheish chiluk bazeh ben berkat an Netilat Yadayim l'shar berachot hashachar. So according to the Arizal, there is a difference between Netilat Yadayim and the other brachot. It's not just a Thanksgiving bracha. It actually has to be done over an action, which is washing of the hands. The hands, not the hounds. Don't wash the hounds with a Netilat. לפיכך נראה שיותר נכון לברך על נטילת ידיים קודם הניגוב. Therefore, always make sure you're making Netilat Yadayim before the bracha of Netilat Yadayim, before you dry your hands. So and the Chida says, okay, we already mentioned that. So it's something interesting I wanted to mention tonight. So the nusach of the bracha, the way we make the bracha of an netilat yadayim, right? So he says, obviously we said it means raising up, lifting up, or elevating. That's what netila means. It says, "Umbrachim an netila zo b'lishon asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'av shei mitzvah mid'Rabbanan." Now we make the bracha for netilat yadayim. We make asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. Hashem has made us holy with His mitzvot v'tzivanu, and has commanded us to wash our hands. Netilat yadayim, right? For instance. So the question is here, where in the Torah is it written to wash your hands? To do netilat yadayim? Huh? There's no mitzvah for, let's say for Kohanim, right? There's no mitzvah for everybody else to wash their hands. There's no mitzvah. So why are we saying Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav? God has made us holy through His mitzvot, and He's commanded us to wash our hands. How do we make that bracha if
someone probably did it, so we all have to do
I understand, but you can't say God has commanded us.
it. No, it's implied that because either Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, one of them did it,
No.
that we have to
No. So the answer is, we all know that Netilat Yadayim is a rabbinic law. It was instituted by the rabbis, right? So the bracha is also instituted by the rabbis. However, we still make Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, that Hashem has given us this mitzvah. Why? Here's what a lot of people have a difficulty understanding, and I'd like to clarify this. Right?
Because God said to the rabbis and not the rabbis.
Aaron? Yes?
Well, how many mitzvot out of the 613 are from the Torah?
No, the 613 are all from the Torah. The 613 are all from the Torah. I'm talking about the extras from the Rabbanan.
So we have much more than 613.
Yes. We knew that already. I mean, at least I had come to terms with that.
Totally forgot that.
So listen to this. So the Gemara in Shabbat says, like for instance, Hadlakat Ner Chanukah, when we light Nerot Chanukah, which is coming up soon, we light Chanukah candles, right? When we light Chanukah candles, we also say Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, right? Chanukah is definitely not in the Torah, right? It was not a commandment from the Torah. It happened during the second temple period. So how could we say Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav? God never commanded us the Chanukah. The Torah was written many years before then, over 2,000 years before then.
The rabbis can basically invoke God's will.
Let's go easy now.
No, I think the question is what if the rabbis come up with something today?
So that's a different discussion. That cannot happen, right? That's why some temples are having issues. So we have a tzivui, we have a commandment that in the Torah that says what? Lo tasur mimenu yamin usmol. The Torah says, when your chachamim, this is the commandment from Hashem, says when your chachamim tell you to do something, lo tasur mimenu yamin usmol. You do not stray from it right or left, which means anything they decide you need to do, when it's of course, when it's in the realm of the Torah, according to the Torah, in their chokhmah, you do not go right or left. You stay on that track. So therefore, that's one of the mitzvot of the Torah. That's one of the commandments of the Torah. The commandment of the Torah is, you shall have for yourselves chachamim that will direct you in life. And whatever direction they give you, you cannot stray from it. Therefore, whenever we keep any of the mitzvot of the Rabbanan, we're really intrinsically keeping the laws of the Torah. Right? They're all rooted in the laws of the Torah. However, obviously, you can't say that any rabbi can just come and say, oh, this is a new, no, chas v'shalom. Chalila v'chalila, that's not how it happens. Okay? There are no new laws that are being made. There are no new mitzvot that come out. All of the mitzvot were done by the Anshe Sanhedrin Gedolah, the men of the great assembly. They made all the mitzvot, or whatever needed to be, so to speak, modified, not to chas v'shalom, add to the Torah, but modifications for generations to come, to safeguard the mitzvot of the Torah. Not to, God forbid, take away from the Torah, chas v'chalila. And not to add new mitzvot, no, but to just, not clarify, but to safeguard the mitzvot that we have and to make it so that we'll be able to keep the mitzvot better. They instituted different guidelines, extra guidelines to safeguard the Torah. And that's allowed. And when the Chachamim do that, we have to listen. And that's the mitzvah midoraita. Therefore, a lot of times, we have things that we keep that are midirabanan. A lot of things that we keep are midirabanan, we don't even know. Many people don't know that there are a lot of things that they're actually doing, even though they go against a lot of things that they know is midirabanan. They go, oh, where in the Torah does it say you're supposed to do this? Right? I always ask them, like, do you, for instance, do you do X, Y, Z? They go, yeah, of course we do. I go, that's the Rabbanan. And they get so what? Really? No. Yeah, it is. Right? So a lot of things that we do, Baruch Hashem, are midirabanan, and those have become literally what they are supposed to be. They've become for Am Yisrael like the Torah rules itself. But we keep them in that sense because we understand that the Chokhmah didn't just come, they didn't just sit around and go, hey, today, let's make a new rule. From now on, Jews should only eat so-and-so. No, they weren't bored. Okay? There's always reasons behind why the Chachamim made whichever decisions they made.
So during the temple period, they weren't necessarily doing Netilat Yadayim. Long. We were basically doing it in our early stages. Actually,
Netilat Yadayim they were doing, but we're talking about the bracha, making the blessing on it.
Doing that.
Right. So a lot of the brachot that we have. Chanukah. There was during the temple period, there was no menorah lighting for families.
So is it the process, the act that removes the tumah, or is it the blessing that removes the purity?
The process, the act, is what removes the tumah. That's what we're discussing. And you'll see. The So this, unfortunately, I have to be the first to admit that this has happened to me. If you've washed your hands and you're not sure if you made a bracha or not, you don't make the bracha now. Right? Because it's a safek. When you have a doubt whether you made a blessing or not, you don't make the blessing anymore. Because you might have made it. Right? I don't know if it's happened to you guys. It has happened to me. When you have kids running around in the morning, trying to go to school and stuff like that, you're trying to talk to like 10 different people, and then you come and you dry your hands, you say, did I just make a bracha or not? Like, you literally do not know if you just made a bracha or not. So you don't make the bracha anymore, because you might have made it, you don't know, it happens. Therefore, you don't make it anymore. Im shachach, litol yodav, va'avar v'yitpalel shacharit. If he forgot to wash his hands, or her hands, and he already prayed, shacharit. Like we said before, the reason why we do Netilat Yadayim is for tefillah. Right? So now you did the entire tefillah already. And you realized, oops, I didn't wash. B'di'avad en tzarich la'asor l'tefalel. B'di'avad, which means it's not as good, it's after the fact, but it's okay. You don't have to pray again. You don't have to do the tefillah again. And by tefillah, we mean Kriyat Shema and Lacha, Shemona Esrei. Right? Huh? Exactly. So imagine how important Netilat Yadayim is, because we're saying your tefillah becomes b'di'avad. Your tefillah becomes like a secondary tefillah, like as if However, if you want to be stringent and you want to still pray, you can. you do Shema one more time, and you do Lachash one more time even, Shemona Esrei, and have in mind that if I'm really chayav to pray one more time, if I'm really obligated to pray, then this should be my, the service of my obligation. If I'm not really obligated, this should be as a nedava, as a gift offering to God, as my prayer as a gift of shevach, of giving praise to you. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That's how stringent the whole Netila thing is. You understand how important it is to Netilat Yadayim in the morning? If you don't do Netilat Yadayim, there's a safek whether you should have even davened yet or not with that Tumah. That's how important it is. You had a question? You had a question? So he says, and he knows that if he does the second tefillah, he'll be able to have a kavanah in his tefillah. Obviously meaning that if you think that the second time around you're going to be like, I forgot to wash, so you know what? I'll daven again as a gift offering to God. It's like, no thank you. If you're really not going to have a kavanah, then maybe you shouldn't. Rashan says, because there's a machloket between the poskim. Okay. You should not make the brachot of shachar anymore. The brachot of the morning. Or Baruch Shamar, or any of those. Only just Shema and Tefillah. Without the bracha. Just Shema itself. Those are the chiyuv. Chiyuv of Tefillah is Kriyat Shema and Amidah. Those. We'll get to that also if this Zman Tefillah has passed. Then Zman Tefillah has passed, you don't do it. I mean, Nedava anyway is Nedava, but you've already lost that on the timing, so I don't think that at that time you should, but we'll get to it. Someone, you had a...
Yes, so if that case happens and you have a suffix, do you go back and wash or no? In the morning, after you finish davening, you wash?
We'll get to that. Yes, you should wash, however, you don't make a bracha anymore. Because now, you're not doing it for the tefillah anymore. Like we said, one of the main reasons that we do Netilat Yadayim in the morning is what? To make ourselves ready for tefillah. Yeah, but then, already by then, there's so many times that you're washing your hands and stuff anyway during the day. So you're not gonna make a bracha anymore. Because remember, according to many of the poskim, even according to the Shulchan Aruch, for the Netilah of the morning time, you don't really need a cup. You don't really need a utensil, right? We do it because the Shulchan Aruch says it's good to do the same things when you wash in the morning. It's good to use the same logic and rules and regulations as when you wash for bread. But it doesn't say you have to. Even the Ramah holds that even if you don't, you're still Yotze. Ramah holds you could even make a bracha. The Aga holds that even if you wash without a cup, you just hold your hands under the sink, you could make a bracha on that. And so therefore, it's a real big safek. So if there's this safek in it, then you don't make a bracha the second time around. Okay, so we'll hold it here, and we'll pick up there next week. We'll go. You can, but there's no bracha. No, you don't have to, no. After a day nap, you don't have to. That was last week. Okay, so we were talking about emunah and bitachon in Hashem. So they say a story about the Chafetz Chaim that one time they asked the Chafetz Chaim to recommend somebody to be they were looking for a mashkiach for a very big yeshiva. Mashkiach is obviously the person, what would you call a mashkiach in English? He is the supervisor of the students, right? But he's more than a supervisor. A mashkiach is somebody in a yeshiva, in a sense, is someone that the students get to go to whenever they have issues. He's very personal with everybody. He's always around.
Oh, I thought
right?
it was for the kitchen.
No. So
It's the same term.
It's the same term. It's the same term. But mashgiach in a yeshiva's job is to oversee things and oversee students, help them in life, for whatever reason they might need.
Oh, so it's a counselor.
So they needed they needed a mashgiach for this yeshiva. They come and ask the Chavetz Chaim to recommend somebody, and the Chavetz Chaim knew someone very fit for that job, chashuv person, and the Chavetz Chaim recommends this Rav and sends a letter, signs the letter at the end of the letter, and says, "I believe that this person is very fit for this job. Hatzlacha Rabbah." Right? They receive the letter, and then all of a sudden receive a second letter during Chol HaMoed Sukkot, which is a double surprise. Why? First of all, what was the rush? Second of all, for the Chavetz Chaim to write Chol HaMoed Sukkot. On Chol HaMoed, obviously writing and things, you only do writing, even on Chol HaMoed, only on things that are really urgent. So if the Chavetz Chaim found it urgent enough to write on Chol HaMoed, it must be very important. And in this letter, he said that he takes back his haskama. He takes back, I'm really sorry, all the things that I said about this Rav are true. However, I cannot give my stamp of approval for him to be the mashgiach. This is for the Chavetz Chaim. First of all, like the boundaries of, how the Chavetz Chaim has always been. His face is basically the poster face for Lashon Hara, right? So obviously, if the Chavetz Chaim felt, and I'm sure, I don't know how he worded it in order for it not to, the Chavetz Chaim knew exactly what he was doing. For him to write a letter and say, I have to take back this haskama because I don't think, he has everything that I said he has, but I don't feel he's fit for this. So they ask him. They ask him, what happened? So he needed to make sure that people don't think the guy is crazy. If the Chavetz Chaim is pulling his haskama, his approval, they might make up things about him. So he needs to clarify the situation. What does the Chavetz Chaim say? Chavetz Chaim tells them that one time this person came to him and he poured out his heart to the Chavetz Chaim, telling him that, his parnasah is really hard, his livelihood is really hard, and every week he has to do this and do that to make ends meet, and it's becoming very hard on his family, and that. The Chavetz Chaim thinks to himself, he says, I didn't feel that he's really strongly rooted in his emunah, even though he's a great Talmid Chacham, but he complained a little too much. And I felt as if this person himself is not so strong rooted in his emunah, how is he going to help other Talmidim to be able to be strengthened? That kind of person, I can't give an haskama. Even though for anything else I would, but as a mashgiach, I just couldn't do it. And I had to pull it. Imagine how the Chavetz Chaim felt. You understand? For a person in Chavetz Chaim standards, to have, he's a normal person. He's a Rav. He's a Talmid Chacham. Someone that the Chavetz Chaim recommends. I mean, if the Chavetz Chaim recommends somebody, it means the guy is a genius in every aspect. But he had to pull that recommendation. Why? Because he felt he complained a little about too much about the way his life was going, and it's just he felt that he's not strong enough in his emunah. So they say, now I want to give you what it means to really believe in Hashem. Sometimes it's good to have some examples for us to see two things. One, what to look up to, what to set as a goal in our lives, to become in our lives, because it's possible to become like that. And number two is, sometimes it's good to also see how little we are, how small we are, right? And how small our concerns are. It's funny. You come, we live in California. We don't see much of Gedolei Ador. But you sit one time near one of the Chachamim, and they open their mouths, and you hear the wisdom that comes out of their mouths. You literally go home feeling like, what am I? I'm nothing. I have nothing. You feel so. But sometimes it's good because it gives you an inspiration for what you want, you can achieve, right? So it says Rabbi Meir, from Permishlan, Zichroni Yivracha, he was in a very, very dire situation. A very difficult situation. And by difficult situation, I mean you got to understand that when it meant, this difficulties those days meant no bread on the table. They didn't have what to eat. So he's going on the street, right? And as he's walking in the street, thinking in his thoughts, all of a sudden he sees a gold coin on the floor. They didn't have food to eat. He sees a gold coin on the ground. What does he do? He bends over halfway, about to pick up the gold coin. And he hears a voice in his head. And he says, Meir, since when do you bow down to the floor to pick up money? Since when do you have to go so low as to have to pick up money from the floor to work? If it's yours, it'll be yours. Hashem will bring it to you. You don't have to go to it. Like I said, you need to see what real emunah is. Real emunah in Hashem. Right. We said that a couple of weeks ago. We said, what is hishtadlut? Hishtadlut is according to the person themselves.
Right, yes, okay.
To him, that's why in his head he said, man, what are you doing? That's not you.
Wow.
Since when do you need to bend over for money? So he leaves the gold coin and he goes to yeshiva. No. He goes to yeshiva and he sits down and learns. All of a sudden, somebody comes and taps him on the shoulder and says, Kvod Harav, I'd like to give you this gold coin. So he turns and goes, where did you come from? Why are you giving me this gold coin? He says, to be honest with you, it's not mine. I found it on the street. And I felt, you know what? I'm going to go to the Beit Midrash. And the first Talmid Chacham that I see learning, I'm going to give it to them. And I open the door and I see you learning. So it must be yours.
Is this a true story?
This is a true story. Wow. It's hard to believe. But that, like I said, there comes a time in your life that when you see things happen or you hear about things that happen, and you think to yourself, that is what can be. Those are the possibilities. Those are what we can reach for. And we think to ourselves, Shabbat now is so early. Why? What am I going to do? I have to go home at 2 o'clock now because they changed the clock. Like they said in Iran, the Zionists are even stealing our time. The whole problem of taking back that. It's like, why? We have to go home so early now. But, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us Shabbat. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us Mo'adim. You think by you working an extra hour, because you need to, or else you're not going to make it. You think you're going to make that's it? You think now you're going to be rich because of it? One more. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. Sheminhago hayam yom omdo al da'ato. From the beginning of when he became mature, he had a minhag that he would never ask for money. Everybody knew. No matter how low he would go, how dire his situation would become, he would never ask. He wouldn't even borrow money, right? So one time his situation becomes so hard. Rav Chaim goes home and his wife is crying. And she says, listen, I understand that you have a minhag, that you've never borrowed money, you've never asked for tzedakah from anybody, but it's bad. We can't do this anymore. We don't have food for Shabbat. Maybe you should go and do hatarat nedarim, cancel your vow, and go borrow some money. You don't have to ask for money, just go borrow some money. So he puts on his coat and he goes out, all saddened by the fact that he sees his wife this way, right? And he looks up and says, Ribono shel olam, this is what it comes down to. I don't want the money for myself. I'll go hungry. But lichvot Shabbat on my wife, I can't see my wife like this. And I don't want to borrow money. And as he's talking, it was very rainy that day. There was like rivers of water in the streets. And he sees a coin rolling down the streets until it hits him on the foot. Picks it up and goes home. Buys food for the family. I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. They say about the Baal Shem Tov that he was one time immersed in his learning, and all of a sudden a voice comes to the Baal Shem Tov that says, if you want to learn about Emunah, go to so-and-so city to Reb Meir, let's say. And the Baal Shem Tov now and his Talmidim want to know, he's had this, so to speak, Ruach HaKodesh about a person that lives in so-and-so city, that if you want to learn about Emunah, you go to this person. So they travel to that city to go see who this person is. They go, and they start asking around. People knew the Baal Shem Tov. They start asking around, Reb Meir, the presser. He had like a small little wine press. He would press grapes and raisins to make wine, right? You know where he lives? We'd like to meet him. Everyone's all puzzled. Like, why does the Baal Shem Tov want to meet a simple Jew like Reb Meir? I mean, he's like, okay. They tell him where his place is. They go to his home and he's happy to meet them. He brings them drinks. He brings them whatever he had on the table, and they sit and they're talking in Torah, Devar Torah. And all of a sudden, in the midst of all their talking, a soldier comes, right? And comes inside, knocks on the table 3 times, and he leaves. The Baal Shem Tov, everybody else is shocked. They go, what was that all about? So he goes, oh no, don't worry. It's just that it's come for my time for my dues, for my rent, so to speak. They had to pay their rent yearly to the headmaster, so to speak. And it's come time for my dues. And when it comes time for my dues, a soldier comes. When I'm late, the soldier comes 3 times, knocks, and the 3rd time I got to wrap up my stuff and I have to leave. I'm going to be thrown out. So he says, how many times is that already? He says, that's the 1st time. He says, so, okay, so we'll leave you to it. You go ahead and you go try to... He says, no, but I can't. Where am I going to go? You go, what do you mean? He says, I don't have any money. I don't have anything to pay him with. So he goes, okay, so I'm sure you need to go. And he says, no. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to send me the money, he'll send me the money. I've done my best. Okay, now the Baal Shem Tov is interested. He wants to see what happens. So they sit, they're learning, nothing happens. Comes the 2nd time. The guy comes and knocks 3 times again. And he leaves. Nothing's happening. Finally comes the 3rd time. Comes and knocks 3 times and leaves. Now they're like, well, okay. So the guy gets up, put on his coat, and he starts to go. They go, where are you going? He says, well, I'm going on my way to the owner's home. They go, but you don't have any money. He says, yeah, I don't have any money now. What am I going to do? But I still have to go. Hopefully, God willing, Bezrat Hashem, on the way, God's going to give me something. It'll happen. On the way, they follow him to see what really happens. They're going on the way, and a wagon stops on the way and talks to this guy. And they're watching as he's having a conversation with the wagon driver. And the wagon driver gets into the wagon and starts driving away, and he starts walking again. 2 minutes later, the wagon stops again, comes back and starts talking to him, hands him something, and leaves. So he says, I'm sorry, I have to now go pay. I'll be back. Please go to my house. I'll be back. I'm going to go pay my the owner. He goes and pays the owner. Comes home. They go, what happened? He says, not only did I make the money, I made extra. They go, what happened? He says, you see that wagon driver? He was a messenger from one of the lords that live in a different city, and they wanted a lot of wine, like a yearly supply of wine. I quoted him a price. He didn't want my price. He quoted a lower price. I said no. So he left. But then he came back. He accepted my price. Not only did I pay for my rent, my dues, I have extra for the whole year. So Baal Shem Tov sees, now I know why I had to learn Emunah from him. How far did his Emunah go? He literally, this is the way I see it, he tested Hashem. Like, okay, the guy is giving you money, and you still go the further route, and you go, no. Why? Because he fully had emunah that if Hashem really wants to give me my parnasah, He'll give me what I need. There's no reason He won't give me what I actually need. So I don't have to step down. I've done, again, This only happens if a person really truly has that emunah. You really truly have worked on yourself to the place, to the platform where you could actually say, I 100% with every artery in my body believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give me my parnasah because I've done my best. You can't play God. You can't be like, okay, so we'll test God. We're like, okay, I'm not going to do anything, and God's going to... No, it doesn't work that way. You actually have to have emunah. This person really had such a strong emunah that Hashem is going to give him his parnasah, that he stood by his word. No, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give me my parnasah, he'll give the parnasah that I need. And that's how we have to be in life. That's actually something we could look to become. It's not easy to get to such a level in emunah, but it's just important. Again, because he really had such an emunah, he knew how much money he needs for whatever it is to support his family and pay the rent. So he felt, that's what I'm saying. He felt that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give me the parnasah that I need, he'll give me the amount that I need. There's no limits to what Hashem can do. So why should I settle for less?
Isn't that like pushing your luck?
Again, it would be pushing your luck if you don't have that amount of emunah. True. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen.